Okay, this is KP4MD. Do we have a net control on frequency for the SSTV TV net? Okay, I'm not hearing anybody, so I guess I could try and do this here. This is KP4MD. This is the River City Arcs SSTV TV net. We meet every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Pacific time on frequency 441.30 N6NA repeater, and also live stream on YouTube on our YouTube channel. This is a net for practice in image transmission modes, and all who are welcome to join us here on the radio, or also you can join our live chat on our YouTube channel. So are there any check-ins? If so, please come now.
Norway 6 Yankee, Germany, N6YG, hate being the first one.
N6PGQ.
November 6 Whiskey Lima Mike, Bill in Roseville.
Okay, I have number 1 is November 6 Yankee Golf. Number 2 is November 6 Papa Golf Quebec. Number 3 is November 6 Whiskey Lima Mike. Do we have any other check-ins for slow scan? Okay, nothing heard. It's a nice small little group, so we'll go ahead and start with you there, George. November 6 Yankee Golf. We're ready for your picture if you have one to send. Over.
Alright, let's see. About 25, 30 watts out. This will be Martin 1. Let's do a tone test first. Let me know if I have a tone.
Affirmative. Good tone. Okay, very good, George. I copied that very well. Let's go down to Bob, N6PGQ. How did you receive that? Over.
Well, I received it well. There were quite a few pixel pops that you could actually hear in the receiver audio, and the idea happened right about where the 6 and the S is on the screen. It says N6YG and SSTV, and in the middle it looks to me like an American set of springs, coil springs for a vehicle. Has a rubber bumper in the middle. Doesn't look like, to me, it would be a McPherson strut suspension. There's no shock going down through the middle of the coils. Interested to hear what vehicle this is and who's doing work on a car. N6PGQ.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. How about you, N6 Whiskey Lima Mike? How did you copy that?
Yeah, good copy here. There's an ID halfway through. Very few pixel pops. I like the background color for your N6YG. It's very bright green. And yeah, I agree with Bob. It looks like some kind of shock or strut. I've seen them with the center piston in the middle, so I've never seen one that's just open air like this. Usually they're fairly dangerous. So I stay away from these kind of things on vehicles and pay the proper people to repair them for me. So I'm wondering what you're up to there, George. N6 to Bill, and back to net.
Okay, I can. If anybody's looking on YouTube, you'll see the picture I got here, and I also see it a little band with the ID at the same place everybody else saw it, and a few pixel pops here and there, which of course that's due to paved paws up there at Beale, and looks like there's a rock inside there. I don't know if that belongs there. It looks like there's a big old chunk of rock inside that spring. Back over to you there, George. Tell us what you have there. November 6th, Yankee Golf. Go ahead, over.
Everyone was pretty close. This was a Blazer, S10 Blazer we used to have. I've worked on all my own vehicles since I was old enough to pick up a wrench. But this drove me nuts. My wife was driving this, and she kept telling me there's a strange noise coming from underneath the car every once in a while. And we'd be driving along, and there would just this be horrible cracking noise. And it took me about 3 months to figure it out. I got underneath there, and I was looking the car over, couldn't figure out what the heck that noise was. And one day I just happened to look up at the coil spring. I don't know why I didn't think about checking them, because this is not something you'd normally find. And there's a rock inside the coil spring. How it got in there is anybody's guess. It was actually quite fun to get out of there, but I eventually did get the rock out of there. And boy, I'll tell you, the noise that thing made, and it was just random. It didn't matter what you were doing. You'd think that rock would make noise going over bumps, but it would just, occasionally it would get jammed between a couple of the spring coils, and when it would compress, it would just pop it out of there, and it'd shoot around that coil, making all sorts of noise. So that's what that was. I took a picture of that just for nostalgia.
Yeah, very interesting. Do we have anybody else with a comment about this? Yeah, like you say, that's very peculiar. How did that rock actually get in between those coil turns and get lodged in there? It must have just bounced in there at the exact right angle to be able to get in there. That's quite a unique picture. Thank you very much for that, George. So we're going to go down the list. N6PGQ, if you're ready, why don't we go ahead and send your picture over?
Okay, very good. This is N6PGQ, and this is PD120.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Bob. We'll go to Bill and November 6 Whiskey Lima Mike. How'd you copy that, and any comments?
Well, yeah, very good copy. Just a few pixel pops here and there, but overall, very nice copy. Looks like some kind of orangish yellow booklet called, it says Blue Chip Savings Book, Spend Stamps and Save Money. And there's a nice logo of, I assume it's a chipmunk, on it looks like a poker chip almost. So it looks like it's on Bob's counter. I have no idea what this is. I'm assuming it's some kind of coupon book. At first I thought it was a children's book before it started, the second half came in and it said spend stamps, save money. So I'm wondering what the stamps are and how you save money by giving people blue chips. N6NA, I'm back to net.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Bill. Over to you, George. Any comments on this? N6YG, over.
Yeah, thanks for making me feel old. Yeah, I know what this is. I don't know if I'll just let it go around and see who else knows what it is. I got my website up and running if anybody wants to see how I'm receiving your images. It's just qsl.net N6YG. You have to manually refresh the page.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you got that going again. This is Killer Papa for Mike Delta. Yeah, I see Blue Chip Savings Book, Spend Stamps, Save Money. Picture came pretty clear. I see a few pixel pops on the yellowish golden color part of the front cover there. And I've never heard of this particular type of savings stamp. When I was a kid, a number of the grocery stores, of course I grew up in New York City, a number of the grocery stores would give out these stamps whenever you made a purchase. They had plaid stamps, which were very popular. I think they had something called S&H green stamps. And so you would spend a certain amount of money, whatever it was, and they would give you a certain number of these stamps. They were just like postage stamps, but of course they were not good for postage. And then you get these books that you would fill with these stamps, and depending on the total value of all of these stamps you collected, you could redeem them for gifts. That was the whole point. It was kind of like something to entice you to spend more and to collect these stamps. But I've never heard of this particular brand, Blue Chip. It must have been something on maybe on this side of the country that was not prevalent on the east side. But plaid stamps were very popular back in New York. So I'll turn it over to you, Bob, and see if you can explain what this is. N6PGQ KP4MT. Go ahead.
Okay, well, it does mark a certain age, if you know what these are. And yes, Carol, we had S&H green stamps on the West Coast, but these were blue chip stamps. And as Carol mentioned, you would go to a grocery store or a gas station, and when you spent a certain amount of money, they would give you the stamps. You'd paste them into the book, and you'd bring your books down to a redemption center, and they had all sorts of things like toasters and vacuum cleaners and silverware, things like that, that you would trade your blue chip stamps in. And I'll let this break for a second. You would have stamp wars occasionally. The store would say 3 times blue chip stamps, and they'd give you more blue chip stamps than their competitor. And the one story I'm going to tell is there was a Hancock station that was at the corner of Fulton and Auburn Boulevard at the Fulton exit from the highway there at 99. And they had 2 pump aisles, and one had one-time blue chip stamps, and the other one had 60 times blue chip stamps. And so the people that were driving with an expense account would fill their car up with probably 15 or so cents a gallon extra to receive their 60 times blue chip stamps, and then they proudly would take the stamps home and redeem them on the company's dime, N6PGQ.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Yeah, I remember the other stamps that we had was another, each supermarket had their own different line of stamps. Another supermarket had one called Gold Bond Stamps. Do you remember hearing any other brands?
Yeah, Gold Bond were few and far between. It was on the West Coast also, but the major ones were Blue Chips and S&H green stamps.
Okay, George, you were a little hesitant to make a comment about this. Do you have anything to add to this, George? Over.
No, not really. It just brought back some memories. I had actually forgotten all about those. I remember licking a lot of those stamps. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a little piece of memorabilia. Those are vintage now. Those were back in the 60s. That's when I remember seeing them. So this was like 60 years ago. And these things are collector's items. I'm looking them up now, and I see them on eBay. People are selling those as collectors. Gee whiz is a book full of gold bond stamps for $185. Can you believe it? People collect that stuff. Okay, over to you, Bill. N6 Whiskey Lima Mike. If you've got a picture, we're ready for you. Over.
Yeah, I have a picture. I'm going to try something new tonight if no one minds. I'm going to send it as ML180. That's Mike Lima 180, just to see what it looks like. N6WLM, this could be ML180.
Yeah, this is KP4MD. Thank you very much for that picture, Bill. It came through, of course, 180. I guess that means it's 180 seconds to send that. Kind of long, but yeah, it came through pretty good. Of course, the dark areas are where you see all the pixel pops. And oh yeah, I've seen these before. These were a miracle of modern science when they originally came out. We were absolutely flabbergasted to see this kind of stuff. And I mean, compared to trying to read a frequency off an analog scale, this was something that's absolutely very impressive back in its time. Also want to put a shout out there to Whiskey Papa 2 November. Craig out there in the Cajun country, Louisiana, is watching us on our YouTube channel. So I'm going to go down the list here and go back up to George. N6YG, I'm sure you're familiar with this. How did you copy and what are your comments? Over.
A few pixel pops here and there. It looks really good. Yeah, that's a Heathkit frequency counter, right? With Nixie tubes. Very familiar with it. I actually have a Hewlett-Packard Nixie tube frequency counter just like this. Well, from this era. So yeah, I've thought of selling it. I've had quite a few offers on it, but I just hold on to it. Big giant boat anchor that when you turn it on, it sounds like a 747 spooling up in your lab, and generates quite a bit of heat too. So, but the picture came over great. 180 seconds. How warm is that radio? N6YG.
Yeah, very good. And thanks for your feedback on that. And over to you, Bob. Any comments on this picture, N6PGQ? Over.
Well, the quality is really good. You can even read where it says Heathkit frequency counter below the Nixie tubes. And I just wanted to mention that Nixie tubes are not really related to the types of tubes we would see. They're more related to fluorescent or neon light, because that's what makes the image glow. And there are multiple rows of filaments in there so that you can change the numbers. N6PGQ.
Yeah, exactly. The technology of this was you had 10 different metal elements in there, for one element for each numeral, and you would have to apply the high voltage. It's whatever is 90 volts or so DC to cause the neon gas to ionize for it to glow. And if you look closely at these things when they're off, you can see all of the metal electrodes in there for each of the numbers. That was way before they had 7-segment digits or anything like that. They were actually 10 individual electrodes in there for the neon. It's just like a neon glow tube, like an NE2, but much larger, of course, to do that sort of thing. And it was kind of a magical thing to see those things glow and to give you a digital readout. I remember that was quite impressive. Speaking of neon light bulbs or any kind of light bulb, I have a box here full of light bulbs that I used to replace the bulbs around the house, and I have to confess that a lot of our lights still have incandescent bulbs in there. And I went to the store to look for replacement bulbs because some of my bulbs are also compact fluorescents. And I was wondering if I could get one, because I really like those compact fluorescent bulbs. You can't find those anymore. You can't even find incandescent bulbs anymore. Everything is LED. And I was absolutely shocked. I was way back in technology, thinking that fluorescent tubes were still available, fluorescent light bulbs. circle lines. They don't have those anymore. They have LED replacements for those. LED replacements for the long fluorescent, the 4-foot long tubes. They're all LEDs now. And all of the incandescent bulbs. I guess there are only a few special application things that still need the original incandescent bulbs. Of course, the halogen bulbs went a long time ago because of the fire hazard. So the only problem I have with LED bulbs is that some of them generate a lot of RF interference. I've noticed that. So that's a challenge with them. Anybody else have any comments about this? KP for MD. Okay, nothing heard. I'm going to go ahead and send a picture myself. This is going to be PD120. Gee, I'm sorry, it went out ML180. Forgot to click the PD120 button before I sent that out. The MMSSTV kind of switches everybody over to the mode that it was the last picture was set on. So over to you, George, N6YG. How copy that, KP for MD?
The image came over really well. Not a lot of pixel pops. it sounded about halfway through. I was hearing some hum of some kind. I'm not sure what it was. There actually looks like there might be a little split at the very, very bottom where it shifted. That could have been my system resyncing. Although I have auto slant control off. And by the way, I think you can turn that feature off where it automatically switches you over to whatever the last received mode was. And that's in the under options and setup. It's turned off on mine because it would always screw me up when someone would send something in a different mode, and I'd forget to check, and then I'd end up sending it. But so yeah, back to net N6YG.
Okay, very good. Next, Bob, your comments on the picture, N6PGQ, KP4MD.
Well, the quality of the picture came through. You could see the NIXI display in the bottom left corner, and a signal report for N6YG of 595. And at the top is MMS SSTV version 1.13a, and the N6NA Slow Scan TV Net at the top, and your call in the bottom right. And it looks like someone has built a homemade cat box for a cat, and of course, like most cats, they won't go in the box. They'll sit on top of it or lean up against it or something like that. So this looks like somebody's pet project to help the kitty cat that's on the top, N6PGQ.
Hey, thank you very much for that, Bob. Over to you, Bill. Your comments and how you received the picture, N6WLM, KP4MD.
KP4MD in the group, N6WLM. Yeah, it came over fairly well. There's a large amount of pixel pops, but doesn't really impact the overall picture. And there was a slant correction on mine also, but it was further up where N6YG's call sign was it kind of doesn't line up. It's a few spaces over. So Bob's also had to have a slant correction, but George's came over straight, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it looks like a cat on top of probably where they're supposed to be sleeping. It does look kind of like a chicken coop also at first glance, so I thought maybe the cat was just hanging out with the chickens. But yeah, it came over, good photo. Oh, it's nice to see my photo too on the bottom corner too, to see the results. That's fun. N6WLM, back to net.
Okay, very good. This is KP4MD. Well, first of all, I just want to comment that the reason why my picture shows N6YG is because N6YG, I think, is the only other station here on the net that has a TXID button checked and is actually sending out their call sign along with the picture encoded, so it gets shows up in the little log box here on MMS SSTV. So although George was the first one to send, and then Bob and then Bill sent pictures afterwards, their calls didn't get decoded, so it still stays on N6YG. And of course, this is one of the default templates for MMS SSTV that I have superimposed on the picture. And this is a cat that one of the cats that I feed here. It's an outdoor cat. His name is Grayson, and this is a little cat house that I got through Amazon, and it was easy to assemble. I ordered and came the next day. It was something like $50, but yeah, he goes inside there. I put his food in there to keep it away from the turkey that's been bugging the cats. He goes in there to eat, and sometimes he rests in there, but he just likes to perch himself up on the roof of that little thing. Gives him they like to be in a higher perspective to get a lookout on what's going on in the area there. But it's a fun little cat house. So something new that I got them here in this last week. So This is the picture that I snapped off the surveillance camera that I have in the driveway, and he didn't realize he was being observed, but I was just keeping an eye out to make sure he's safe there. And yeah, that's amazing. That Nixie picture is really nice and clear. I think it's because it's that 180 mode that probably has a lot more resolution. So very good. I'm going to go back to the top of the list here to see what time it is. It's only 9:38. First, I'd like to take a standby. Are there anybody else who would like to check in to the net? Please come now. Okay, nothing heard. Actually, it's early enough. We can go ahead with another round if anybody has any other pictures. I'll start back up to the top of the list here. N6YG, do you have anything else for us, George? Over.
As a matter of fact, yes, I can send another picture out. Hopefully our YouTube audience is still with us. This should be of interest. N6YG.
Gee, that is a very interesting picture. I see it's got Craig's call sign in there, WP2N. Just a few pixel pops that you can see. Not unusual number. Number of people: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people at hard hats on the right there in the foreground, and then fire. I don't know. Is that something being incinerated, or is that have no idea what that is. It's interesting. It seems to be burning something. So that's my guess. Anyway, let's go over to you, Bob, and see what you think about this N6PGQ. Go ahead, KP Friend.
Okay, well, as the picture progressed down the screen, you know, I was first thinking it might be something from the Webb telescope and all that kind of stuff, and it got farther and farther down, and I agree with you. It looks like a fire of some sort. There's a dump truck on the left and a great big pile of sand, it looks like, in front of the people with hard hats. And so I would guess, and you know me, I always guess wrong, but I would guess they just dumped that load of sand on a natural gas fire, and they're trying to either smother it or keep it going in a direction away from the people and away from, you know, other buildings and things like that. So that's my guess, N6PGQ.
Well, that sounds like a good guess. Thank you very much, Bob, for that. Over to you, Bill. N6WLM, over.
Yeah, it looks like these people are having a bad day. Something's on fire. It looks industrial, potentially. I think I like Bob's guess of a natural gas. I was going to guess petroleum-based, but they probably wouldn't be putting sand on it. I was thinking maybe even the sand itself could be the thing on fire, and they just happen to have, or whatever that substance is on fire, and these people are about to run out of the way. So this is interesting. I guess it was sent by WP2N at one point. So I'd like to hear the story behind this. N6WLM, back to net.
Okay, well, I'm seeing a mention here from Craig on YouTube. He says this was a long time ago, the Iraq War. So burn pits, or perhaps trying to put out the fires that were the oil rigs were set on fire by Saddam Hussein during the Iraq War, possibly. It looks like Craig recognizes this picture. So back over to you there. A question also for you, George. You have an interesting version, SSTV version 1.13.3 Yonik. I've never heard of that version. It's not the one that's posted for download on the regular website for that. So over to you, N6YG, KP for MD.
All right, Carol. Yeah, this was a picture that WP2N sent back in December of 2017. Another old-timer, been on this net for a while. And when I heard he was on the YouTube channel, I thought I'd send him a shout-out and send this picture. I have all the archives from back then, so I was going through it the other day and I saw this. And yeah, I think that's what he said it was back then. It was one of the Iraqi oil well fires that they were putting out. So, that was, I'm not sure if this was sent, were we doing the net in 2017 over the repeater, or was this done on, I think this was done on 2 meters. I think this is when we were doing simplex on 2 meters. So, with that, yeah, the version of SSTV, let me reset. This is a new ham has taken over development of SSTV. I think it's a Spanish ham, and he's added some new features and some upgrades to some much needed improvements to modernize this software so it runs a little bit better with newer versions of Windows. So that's what this is, and if you just Google this version with his name, it'll pull up the download. Just be forewarned that it loads in Spanish, and there's a YouTube video that'll show you how to go through, and it's really easy to switch it back over to English. You just go into the setup and select English, and it converts almost all of it back over to English. And I've been using it now. I really like it. It's got some neat features, although it does have a feature that I think is kind of cheating that you should disable. And it does the same thing that some of the digital SSTV programs did. There's a server that runs online, and if you check a specific check mark, as it's sending your picture over the air, it also uploads it to a server and then sends a link along with the SSTV file. So all the other users will download it off the internet server rather than over the air. And I think that's kind of cheating, so I keep that disabled.
Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with the. There's this other digital SSTV mode, the other software, and people were using this on 20 meters and sending pictures back and forth, and we're just amazed at how clear it was, how clear they received it, even though, of course, there were so many dropouts on the RF link. What they actually were seeing was just a picture sent over the internet. So it seemed to me kind of ridiculous that they were being so impressed by sending such beautiful quality pictures over the radio. I would not do that. Like you say, it is really cheating. And Craig says yes, that I was correct, that this was the Iraq war, and that's what he had commented, and that's what I thought. Thank you very much for bringing this picture up, and also for mentioning this new version of MMSSTV. We'll have to look into it and see what the enhancements are. I'm glad, because this is the software we've been using. This software must be at least 15 or 16 or more years old, because when we started doing this SSTV Net back in 2011, which was 12 years ago, we were using the same version that I've been using all this time. Is 1.13a. So very good. Does it resolve some of the problem with the mix-up of the audio stream and numbers? I was wondering if it does that, George. Over.
I'm not really sure. I just started using it not too long ago, and it seems to be handling multiple sound cards better than the original version. That's kind of what I was looking to get away from. The original version just does not play well with the newer versions of Windows when you have multiple sound cards. And so far, this one seems to be playing nice. It's remembering the sound card that I have selected for it, and it's not, with MMS TV, I have a 48-inch monitor plugged into the computer that I use as a monitor, and I start the program up, and sometimes it would be sending audio to that computer, sometimes it would be sending audio to the laptop speakers, and every time I'd start it, I have to reconfigure it and try to shoehorn it to sending the audio to the homebrew signal link, the USB sound card. It just, and it's just really annoying that it was such a hassle to get it to remember the right sound card.
Yeah, if that's one of the enhancements of this new version, it certainly would be worth looking into. Because every once in a while, Windows just confuses the audio streams, and then you have to go back in there into the settings and close the program down, open it up again, and choose your sound card. Like you say, we've had that problem in the past. Any other comments on this picture, or anything about this from anybody else before we go on? This KP from D. Nothing, but thank you very much for sharing that. Bob, do you have another picture for us, N6PGQ?
No, I don't. We'll have to move on, N6PGQ.
Okay, now, Bill, N6WLM, do you have another picture you'd like to share?
Sure, I'll send another one. This is going to be PD120, N6WLM.
Okay, thanks for that picture, Bill. Go over to you, George. N6YG. Any comments on this picture? How did you receive it? Over.
It came over real clear. I only have well, the pixel pops. You can see some here in the bottom. And oh wow, air conditioner's off finally. And it's someone's. It looks like a little more modern version of a pop-up camper. Rooftop air conditioning. That's something you don't see very often on pop-ups. And propane, and that poor little truck is tucking its little rear end a little bit. So that trailer doesn't look like it'd be that heavy. Maybe the hitch needs to drop down more. Anyhow, picture came over fine. N6YG, back to net.
Okay, thank you very much, George. Bob, N6PGQ, how did you copy it? Over.
Well, the copy is very good. Just a few pixel pops that are, throughout the picture. Have a four-door pickup towing was, as George said, a pop-up trailer rather than a tent-type trailer that you would go camping in. It has air conditioning on the top and a vent in the back. Be interested to know who made it and where the picture was taken. N6PGQ.
Okay, this is KP4MD. Let me take a look at this one more time here. Let's see. Yeah, again, it didn't decode N6WLM. He's not sending his TXID, so my MMS STV still lists the call as N6YG. Yeah, the only thing with my picture is I got a little split. If you could see it on you could see on the YouTube, it's right at just below the level of the roof on the pickup. It looks like everything's shifted over a little bit to the right, and it goes completely across the picture. So I must have lost the sync at that point just a little bit. Everything shifted a little bit, but an interesting pickup with camper. I guess I thought it was some kind of a trailer, but I guess it is a camper, and I've never seen anything that collapses down flat like that to the same level as a pickup. So over to you, Bill, and you can explain it to us. N6WLM's KP4MD.
Yeah, you guys are correct. This is my small trailer. It's a 20-foot long, 21-foot long, and it's called a high-low. It's manufactured by the High-Low company, which is now a defunct company, but I think they're trying to come back. And it's a very light trailer. It's 2,600 pounds, which is just about what my truck could carry. I could carry a little heavier than that, but I didn't feel comfortable with it. And George is right. My tail end on the truck's a little sagging here. This is before I got my weight distribution hitch that really helped pulling this trailer. But it's a fun trailer. It has a hydraulic motor in it that pulls a pulley system of four different steel cables that pulls the entire top section up. So it's a completely sealed unit once it comes up. So you could camp in like bear country or anywhere that they don't normally allow tent campers. And it's a very unique design. It's supposed to help with gas mileage. I don't think it does, but we really like it, and it's a little small now for the growing family, so I might have to consider getting rid of it here soon, but we sure do like it. It's a unique trailer and does turn a lot of heads. N6WLM, back to net.
Okay, thank you very much for that explanation. I looked on George's webpage at qsl.net/N6YG. Yeah, very similar pictures, except he doesn't have the little loss of the sync there with the little shifting over at the level of the roof of the pickup. But pretty much a lot of the same pixel pops. Thank you very much for explaining that, Bill. I don't have any other pictures to send, and it's already up at the top of the hour. I'm going to give a call to see if there's any other final check-ins or anybody else wants to say anything before we close the nets. KP for MD. Okay, nothing heard. I just want to comment that the River City Arc's next monthly meeting is going to be this coming Tuesday, and that's the 1st of August at 7 p.m. at the Carmichael Public Library. And the technical program that's going to be, actually I'm going to give it, is the how to set up your own web SDR. And it's using a Raspberry Pi and an SDR Play. Now you could also do it with one of these RTL SDR dongles using a free software that's called OpenWeb RX. And I actually do have a web SDR set up right now online. And it's a very interesting program because they've done a lot of enhancements to it. It actually includes a slow scan TV decoder that's built into it. And you can access it without, you don't need any special client program, just a regular browser. You go to the website and brings up the waterfall with the, you can see up to 10 megahertz at a time on the SDR Play. So very interesting. Has a built-in FT8 decoder, Whisper decoder, CW decoder, slow scan, DMR decoder, Yaesu System Fusion decoder. They've gone really out of their way to put a lot of decoders into this web SDR. So it's a pretty nifty little thing we're going to show at the next meeting. So any comments here or questions before we close the nets? KP4MD.
Well, other than saying that thanks for running the net, you did a great job tonight. We appreciate it. That's it.
Okay, thank you everybody for the sharing the pictures, and thank you Craig for hanging out with us there all the way back in Louisiana, because I know they're like 2 hours later than us, so it's already midnight over there. And 73's to you all, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you all next Wednesday on the River City Arc Slow Scan TV Net. 73's all. This is Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta Carol, Citrus Heights, California, now closing the net. 73.